The Gaza conflict is very harsh and confusing. Why is help not getting through? Why are homes being destroyed and journalists hurt? People are protesting everywhere, and social media is making things even more divided. Is peace really too hard to reach, or are some powerful people stopping it? These are big questions, but no one seems to answer them. Since October 2023, more than 51,000 Palestinians have died and 116,343 have been injured. And just from March 2025, another 1,630 people lost their lives, with 4,302 more hurt. Gaza is not a big place. It's a narrow strip of land squeezed between Israel on two sides and Egypt on another, housing over 2.5 million people in an area about the size of Philadelphia. Despite its small size, the crisis there is enormous. More than 85% of the people have been told to evacuate, often forced to move again and again. This constant displacement is breaking apart families and destroying support systems, especially hitting women and children hard. Shockingly, nearly a third of Gaza, 30%, has been turned into a security buffer, a zone where no civilians are allowed to live. It's like parts of the land are vanishing for those who need it most, but it's not just about losing homes. Hunger is gripping almost the entire population. 90% face serious food shortages. Warnings about famine are growing louder. In March 2025 alone, 3,696 children were admitted to hospitals with severe malnutrition out of nearly 92,000 children screened. Food supplies are disappearing fast, and people are struggling to eat. Medical supplies are nearly gone too. Hospitals like Nasser Medical Complex are overflowing, and some patients have to be moved out because it's too dangerous to stay. Calls for safe medical access go unanswered, echoing into silence. Here's where things get complicated. The world is watching but not acting in unison. While some countries are pushing for urgent help, others are hesitating or blocking it. Aid routes remain closed, keeping life-saving supplies out of reach. The crisis is described as one made by human choices. There is talk about long-term peace and coexistence, but in the meantime, people in Gaza are stuck in a deadly trap, with little hope and shrinking resources. The situation feels like a puzzle with missing pieces, leaving many questions hanging in the air. Why is help held back when lives depend on it? Why are certain borders closed to aid? Let's get into something really unsettling. Journalists are being targeted like never before in Gaza. Since October 2023, 209 journalists have died there. Out of these, 170 deaths were noted by a major UN agency. That's more than any recent conflict has seen. Journalists in Gaza are risking their lives to show what's really happening, but the cost is brutal. Over in the West Bank, reporters, especially women, are facing threats and even fake beatings. This isn't just random violence. Harming journalists on purpose is considered a crime. Yet, the military involved keeps saying they don't aim at journalists intentionally. With numbers this high, it's hard to believe. On top of that, international journalists aren't allowed into Gaza. The door is basically locked tight, stopping outside media from bringing news out. Calls for access seem to hit a brick wall. It makes you wonder what's being hidden from the world's eyes, but social media is changing the game. Platforms like X, Instagram, and TikTok have turned into battlefields of their own. One powerful image, all eyes on Rafah, showed desperate Gazans asking for help at the Egypt border and quickly went viral. Yet, supporters on the other side fired back with hashtags like, "Where were your eyes on October 7th?" This back and forth fight online isn't just about sharing news, it's about shaping how millions see the conflict. Hashtags like Free Palestine and Israel Under Attack gather huge followings, but also blur the details. Fake news spreads fast, and the algorithms often trap people in one-sided views, making it tough to find what's true. Here's something that's easy to miss. Women in this crisis are being pushed aside, but they refuse to stay quiet. Research shows that when women lead peace talks, agreements last much longer, 35% more likely to hold for at least 15 years. Still, women in Gaza have barely any say in decisions about the conflict. The crisis hits them hardest, with 50,000 pregnant women giving birth under terrible conditions and support services for gender-based violence shutting down because of forced moves. Some global groups are trying to help women leaders in Gaza and Israel, sending aid through local nonprofits and backing 40 journalists and doctors. But cuts to critical funding are making it harder to get help where it's needed. It's like the world is saying, we care, but not enough. Still, women's groups in Palestine keep going, offering health and safety services amid the chaos. At the same time, peace activists in Israel are risking a lot, marching with signs that say, Palestinian lives matter. Now, this might surprise you. Peaceful resistance by Palestinians hardly gets any attention. For years, Palestinians have organized non-violent protests like those in East Jerusalem, supporting families fighting eviction over old property rights. Israeli laws let Jewish people reclaim such homes, but not Palestinians. These protests often face heavy military responses, yet they continue. Some researchers estimate the death toll in Gaza could reach 186,000 by mid-2024 and possibly 335,500 by the end of the year if things don't change. Despite this, peaceful efforts rarely make headlines. It's almost like the world only wants to see Palestinians as victims or threats, not as people fighting peacefully for their rights. Meanwhile, groups like Jewish Voice for Peace are trying to change the story. In late 2023, nearly 1,000 Jewish New Yorkers marched through Brooklyn demanding a ceasefire and sat outside a major politician's home to push their message. JVP has been speaking out for 30 years, calling the current system apartheid. Because they're Jewish, they have a unique position to challenge accusations of anti-Semitism. Still, many critics attack them harshly, dismissing their work. Let's get into the two-state solution. A plan many want, where Israel and Palestine live side by side in peace, sharing Jerusalem as their capital. It sounds simple, but it's far from easy. Since October 2023, some Israeli leaders have openly rejected this idea. Some even suggest replacing Gaza's population with Israelis, a move condemned by others but quietly accepted by Israel's top officials. On the other side, groups like Hamas refuse to recognize Israel at all, making any agreement nearly impossible. The US is trying to help based on old borders formed before 1967, but with 55 evacuation orders affecting 85% of Gaza's people, and 8 convoys often blocked or attacked, help feels out of reach. What's your take? Let us know in the comments below, and for more such amazing videos, do subscribe to our channel.